Morning everybody. Today we are going to continue our talk about inequalities. Last time we did 1- and 2-step inequalities. Today we are going to start solving multi-step inequalities. So any inequalities that have more than one step. So this first one we have here is 9x plus 4 is less than 13. We need to get rid of our 4. So we do the opposite of plus, which is minus. Subtract 4 from both sides. What we get is 9x. The sign stays the same, so less than 13 minus 4, which is 9. To get x by itself, we have to divide by 9. And divide by 9 over here. So our answer is x is less than 9 divided by 9, which is 1. Now to graph that, we make an open circle because it's a less than. Make that a 1. 1 greater than 1 is 2. 1 less than 1 is 0. Our arrow, our less than symbol, is pointing to the left. So we draw our arrow to the left. Here we have our y, or our variable, on the right side. We need to get it to the left side. So what we have to do is we just have to flip this whole problem. So now our 2y minus 8 will be on this side. Our sign is now going to flip. So instead of less than or equal to, we now have greater than or equal to. And 16 comes over here. How we get rid of this 8 is we do the opposite of minus, which is add. Add 8 to both sides. What we're left with is 2y is now greater than or equal to 16 plus 8, which is 24. Now to get y by itself, we have to divide by 2 on both sides. What we get is y is greater than or equal to 24 divided by 2, which is 12. Now we have our line underneath this one, so it's an equal to, so we need to draw a closed circle. This becomes 12. 1 greater than 12 is 13, and 1 less than 12 is 11. So we need to draw our arrow now to the right because our symbol is pointing to the right. Solving these inequalities is exactly like solving equations. We're just trying to get this variable by itself all the time. So now we have a negative 2c plus 2 is greater than negative 22. So we need to get rid of this 2 by subtracting it. What we're left with is negative 2c is less than negative 22 minus 2, which is negative 24. Okay, now we need to get rid of this negative 2, so we divide by negative 2. Those will cancel out. We're left with c. Now, we divided by a negative number. If you remember the rule, if we divide or multiply by a negative number, we have to flip the sign. So now instead of greater than, we're going to have less than. Negative 24 divided by negative 2 should give us a positive 12. because it's a less than sign and not a less than or equal to, we have to draw an open circle. 12. 1 greater is 13. 1 less is 11. And our arrow is pointing to the left. So those were all two-step problems. Here we have a word problem. It says a gas station charges $3.49 for a gallon of gas. A car wash costs $6. You have $20. How many gallons of gas and a car wash are you able to purchase? Alright, so we know that $3.49 is what our gallon of gas costs. Now this is $3.49 per gallon. We don't know how many gallons we have, so we need to put a variable there. 349x. We're also getting a car wash, so we need to add that on. So we need to add our car wash on for $6. Now it says we have $20. So whatever this price is needs to be less than $20. So we need to draw our less than symbol. It could also be $20 because we have that much to spend. So it's a less than or equal to. And $20 is how much we have to spend. So to solve this, we need to subtract 6 first. And subtract 6 first. So those cancel out. What we're left with is 349x is less than or equal to $14. Alright, now to get x by itself, we need to divide by 349 and divide by 349 here. So those cancel out. What we're left with is x is less than or equal to 14 divided by 349. Let me grab my calculator here because I can't do that in my head. 14 divided by 3.49 equals about 4.01. So what we can buy is about 4 gallons of gas with our car wash. So we can buy about 4 gallons of gas with our car wash and our $20. Here, it's another two-step problem. First of all, we have two like terms. They both have p's on them. So, we have to combine them. Negative 4p minus 6p should give us a negative 10p. Negative 10p is less than or equal to 10. To solve this, we need to divide by negative 10. And divide by negative 10. So p will equal, or p we divided by a negative number, so we need to flip our sign. So p is greater than or equal to 10 divided by negative 10, which is negative 1. So negative 1 goes down here. It's a or equal sign, so we have to draw a closed circle. 1 less than negative 1 is negative 2, and 1 greater is 0. Our arrow is pointing to the right, so we need to draw an arrow to the right. Here we need to get rid of our plus 32, so the opposite of that is minus 32. And minus 32 over here. So we get 4n is less than 0 minus 32, which is negative 32. To get n by itself, we need to divide 4. And divide 4 over here. Now we're dividing by a positive number, so our sign stays the same. And negative 32 divided by 4 is negative 8. Even though we got a negative number, we didn't divide by a negative number, so that's why our sign stayed the same. Because it's a less than, not a less than or equal to, it's an open circle. Negative 8. 1 greater than that is negative 7, and 1 less is negative 9. The arrow is pointing to the left, so we draw our arrow to the left. Over here, we have both of our variables, or one letter, n, on the right side. So we need to get them to the left side. So what we can do is flip this problem. So now it will be 8n minus 2n. The sign also flips. So instead of less than or equal to, it's greater than or equal to 24. 8n minus 2n becomes 6n. 6 then is greater than or equal to 24. And we're going to divide by 6 to get n by itself. N is greater than or equal to 24 divided by 6, which is 4. It's an or equal to, so it's a closed circle. 4. 1 greater is 5. 1 less is 3. Our arrow is pointing to the right. Here we have a variable on both sides. So what we need to do is just like we did when we had equations of variables on both sides. We need to create a variable side and a constant side. So we always want the variable on the left. So this side will be our variable side, and this side will be our constant side. So we need to get our variables over to the variable side. This y is positive, so we need to subtract y to get it to the other side. Subtract y. Now we're only going to subtract y from the 5y because they both have y's on them. So 5y minus y gives us 4y. Now we need to move our constant over to the other side. So the opposite of negative is positive or plus. And plus over here. So now what we have is negative 14 plus 14 will cancel out. We have a greater than or equal to 14 plus 4 gives us 18. So now if we try to get y by itself, we need to divide 4 and divide 4. Y is now greater than or equal to 18 divided by 4, which is about 4.5. Or 4.5. 4.5 will go down here. We have a closed circle because we have an or equal to. Something greater than 4.5 could be 5, and something less than could be 4. And our arrow is pointing to the right. The arrow points to the right. Over here, we have parentheses. Now, when we have some number outside of our parentheses, what we can do is we can draw our box. What goes up front is what's in front of the parentheses, so 3 and W plus 12 on top. 3 times W is 3W. 3 times 12 is positive 36. So what we have left then is 3W plus 36 plus 3W is less than or equal to 48. Now our next step is to combine our like terms. So 3W plus 3W. 3 plus 3 is 6. That W comes with it, so 6W plus 36 is less than or equal to 48. Now we need to subtract the 36 to get rid of it on this side, and subtract 36 over here. Those cancel out. What we're left with is 6W is less than or equal to 48 minus 36, which is 12. And the last step is to divide by 6. What we end up with is W is less than or equal to 2. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So because we have an or equal to sign, it's going to be a closed circle. This will be 2. 1 greater is 3. 1 less is 1. Our arrow is pointing to the left. So our arrow is pointing to the left. Alright, last slide. This problem looks big. It's a couple of steps, but it shouldn't be too hard once if we follow our directions here. So, first of all, we need to combine like terms. I see 4 x's. 2 on this side, 2 on this side. So we need to combine them. So negative 4 plus 2x gives us a negative 2x. This 8 stays here, so plus 8 is less than or equal to 3x plus 5x, which is 8x, plus 28. Alright, now we have a variable on both sides. So what we need to do is we need to create a variable side and a constant side. Remember, the variable always should be on the left, so put a variable side on the left. So we need to get this 8x over here. How we do that is the opposite of plus, which is minus, and minus 8x over here. Negative 2x minus 8x is negative 10x. Our constant needs to come over, so we need to do the opposite of 8, which is plus 8, which is minus 8. And minus 8 over here. 28 minus 8 gives us 20. Is less than or equal to, stays the same there. Now, we need to divide by negative 10 to get x by itself, and divide by negative 10 over here. What we're left with is x. Now we divided by a negative number, so what does that mean? It means we have to flip our sign. So instead of less than, it becomes greater than or equal to. 20 divided by negative 10 is negative 2. So to graph that, we have an or equal to, so it's a closed circle at negative 2. 1 greater is negative 1, 1 less is negative 3. Our arrow is pointing to the right, so we have an arrow pointing to the right. And our last problem. Now we have variables on both sides, so we need to get a variable side and a constant side. Variable always goes to the left, so what we need to do over here is bring this 3/4 x over here. How we do that is the opposite of positive 3/4 x. So we're going to subtract 3/4 x. And subtract 3/4 x over here. Negative 1/4 x minus 3/4 x should give us a negative 1x. What we do now is we add 2 to here, to this side, and add 2 over here. So those 2's will cancel out. 8 plus 2 is 10. Our sign is less than. Now we have to divide by negative 1. And divide by negative 1. So these will cancel out. We're left with x. We divided by a negative 1, so the negative number flips the sign. So instead of less than is now greater than. 10 divided by negative 1, which is negative 10. All we have left is to graph it. So we don't have an or equal sign, so it's an open circle. And negative 10. 1 greater is negative 9. 1 less is negative 11. Our arrow is pointing to the right, so we draw an arrow to the right. And that completes our notes. Once you are done and you are confident in your ability, abilities, go grab a worksheet from the front and work on that until the hour is over. Thank you.